Welcome back to DXB today. Great to have you for this evening's episode. An episode that we are hopefully going to give you a better understanding, or an understanding, of all things autism. So, how do you build a better understanding of inclusion within a community? Is it down to the individual? Is it down to an organisation? Is it down to the country as a whole? Well, we've put together the guests that can point you in the right direction, including, of course, our next guest here this evening, who is the Regional Director, MENA and Asia, that is, at IBCCES. Let me get this one right. The International Board of Credentialing and Continuing Education Standards. Welcome to the show. Bianca Raubenheimer, who joins us now here live from the sofa. Really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much for having me. It's very nice to be here.
Yeah. Listen, I just make that point because, yeah, the onus is on a lot of us to be more inclusive, to be more understanding, to be more open-minded. But equally, the importance of certification, be that of an organisation or be that of an entire emirate, an entire town like Dubai as well. What's the process of certification when it comes to Dubai wants to get certified? How do they go about that?
Very good question. So for Dubai, or for an entity to become certified, especially Dubai, who is the first certified autism destination in the Eastern Hemisphere, there was a lot of work that went behind the scenes. We had 80% of frontline staff, because if you think about these individuals are interacting with these individuals or family members when they go to an hotel or an attraction or even Dubai airport. So there is a lot of different aspects that go. So it's 80% of your frontline staff that has to go through the training and certification. And one thing that all of the hotels and attractions that have been trained and certified by IBCCES have done was an on-site review. So that means that one of the experts will go to the hotel and they will look at 360-degree guest experience. They will look at your public restrooms, they will look at your pools, your kids club, your rooms, all of the public areas that the guests will be visiting at the end of the day. So then our experts will then look at these areas, they will make observations, and then they will give real recommendations based on best practices globally. Because at the end of the day, autism is not just about, as the doctor said, it's about the sensory needs and sensory sensitivities. You might not have a diagnosis, but you might be sensitive to light or to touch or to smell. So this is part of the process, and training is the foundation stage of that. So what IBCCES does is that we train these frontline staff to make sure that they are understanding autism and sensory awareness. And it's not just a one-time training, because statistics change. So it's regular refresher training that they do. And then there's ongoing support, because if you think about these hotels and these attractions that have never interacted with individuals that they know of with autism, so how do they put what they've learned into practice, right? Yeah. So there's a whole process, and it's something that doesn't just happen once, it goes on for years. Okay. So yeah.
Bianca, if you allow me, from your experience, you have vast experience in this area, what are the common, let's say, mistakes or gaps that you came across?
So some of the gaps that I've came across is communication. Communication is something that is very key when it comes to when you want to make sure and make aware that people understand that individuals with autism are amongst us, and they do have some struggles as well. Unfortunately, there is ways for just ticking the box. And I think that is one of the things that needs to be changed, because it is about communication. That is one of the biggest gaps that I have seen, definitely, yes.
And Bianca, how do you find that region is going thus far when it comes to accessibility? Are they being proactive?
Definitely. I can say, as a mum with a child with autism, I am very proud to say that Dubai has done so much already when it comes to accessibility. Not just Dubai, I think in the UAE in general, they have done a lot. There is accessible spaces, quiet zones, sensory-friendly spaces in attractions, in malls, in the airport itself, and even we have our own Emirates Airlines that is being accessible and really going the extra mile for these families and individuals.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So Bianca, I know that we were talking in the makeup room earlier and we had a fantastic chat, and I'm really interested to know a little bit more about once parents have had like given the feedback for one of these initiatives, what is the next step? Like if you've had feedback, how do you make that into practice?
So we do a lot of role plays with hotels and attractions, right? Because it doesn't just stop with the training. So they need to put into practice what they have learned throughout the training. So, and as you said, Amy, the feedback from the parents is phenomenal, because we didn't have that before. And now it's very much based on how we can change. For example, a family might say, just give me a quiet space. I just need a space where my child can regulate with all of the noise. So that is one thing as well. We have, at IBCCES, we have something called the IBCCES accessibility application. So as a mom, a POD mom as well, this was one of the biggest struggles I think that a lot of families have, is the fact that there's so many WhatsApp groups and Facebook groups of where can my child go, where is my child acceptable, will the people look at me strangely. So I do think that this accessibility app, it's an app that's for everybody. The app is a location-based platform, and all it does is it shows accessible places, accessible malls, accessible airports, shows accessible hotels as well, attractions. One of the things that I think the parents truly love is the fact that there's sensory guides, that this guide is a good communication tool of what to expect when you go to these places.
I get how you and the team can certainly guide people when it comes to infrastructure. And, you know, you can go to an airport and say, right, we need this, we go into an organisation, we need this, hotels as well. How do you mix that with the sort of play on mindset and empathy? How do you sort of change mindset and empathy accordingly with the infrastructure play as well?
Yeah, that is a very good question, because infrastructure is just a tool at the end of the day, right? And the training is just a tool. So that's again where the role play comes in, and where we have the genuine feedback and the integration of the families. Where we have the families, for example, at Dubai Airport, where they have gone through the safari, they call it safari, where they really go from where you get your passport and you go through check-in and you go through boarding. Because a lot of these individuals and children have never traveled before. They've never traveled out of Dubai. So I think that is something that is very important. One thing that we also do is we do POD events, and where you say empathy. These families want to get out. They want to go to these places where they feel welcomed. And the fact that staff are trained and they understand that they are welcomed. So they do understand that if there is sensory overload, they will have the opportunity to help them go to a quiet space, for example. And it does help when we have families that gives their true feedback on entry experience as well.
Yeah, it's more of a comment actually, because you just spoke about, you know, the family traveling for the first time. You know, as a clinician, I see families daily, and from their perspective, this must be life-changing, you know, from not being able to travel as a family to travel for the first time. So from the family's perspective, can you share other success stories or like feedback in terms of what they're able to do, because you're creating a platform whereby they can do more things that they weren't able to do?
So there's a lot of stories that we can share. For example, one of the things, not just about travel, about education, is that after school, a lot of the families ask, what next? What can my child do? And where you have now seen, since hotels and attractions have been certified, you do see that now they have more empathy and they have more knowledge. So now the next step for them is hiring. We want to hire people with autism, because they have skill sets that a lot of individuals do not have. They're very routine-based, very structured. We have a family that we know that have never traveled before. Their son is 22 years old. When he left Dubai after Emirates became an autism certified airline, Now he travels every summer. Now he wants to go to different places. And I do think that awareness, as you said earlier, Doctor, makes a big difference for these individuals and families as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.